Hey, John, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Just zoom back in from the generator house. So coming.
Did your cat guy show up?
Yeah, he did. And we started getting one breaker in. I didn't realize the all those wires in the bottom side of that breaker are connected through that ATS switch. Um, so hopefully in the morning we can swap to the MQ for a little while and reconnect those wires because they're live.
Okay.
Yeah, the demand should be low enough. I think in the mornings we're still 100, 110. The MQ will handle that for a little while.
Yeah, that's good.
It doesn't like it. It's deceptive that it says it's a 150 because it doesn't really like to go over 100 kilowatts. But no, it literally would take like probably 10 minutes.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah,
Cool.
because if we reconnect the wires on number three, we'll also disconnect them from the bottom of number two. And then, yeah, then they're, safety reasons, obviously.
Sure. Oh, that's
So,
good. Sounds like you got a plan.
yeah, no, I hope that works out. So I'm seeing, for some reason it made me, admit some people. Yeah, I don't know. I usually turn the admittance off, Mike, but let's see. Here we go.
There we go.
They've got everybody in there now. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think we have a good plan and finish up the battery chargers to move batteries closer to each machine. That should hope to solve some electronic issues. So
Was that an impedance issue, like a voltage drop?
it's just
Just
a
a,
drop, Yeah, no, because they're so sensitive to communications are, like any kind of auto electronics that has to do with the ECM.
gotcha.
Same thing that the battery cables are too far away.
Yep.
So hopefully that'll solve that too and put us back on the road. Man, it's hot. It's 105 here. So
Wow.
yeah. No, it felt good in the gin house. It was 100 in the air, but it was in the shade. So actually felt nice inside
I
at
bet.
100. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You
we're gonna
got it.
start early though. I gotta meet his bosses. Got some big wigs coming down at 6 a.m. Then we're gonna get up there shortly thereafter and get going. So
Good,
maybe
good.
just wanted to stop by and say hey. So I'm gonna compliment them because they've been the new guy, Ryan, who's the boss of most of them. He's done a really good job. So
Good.
make sure I let him know that.
Awesome. Well,
So
good deal.
hey everybody. Hey Alexa.
Hey, everyone. We're here.
Made it.
Oh,
Yes.
It was a long trip. We're all here. So let's do this. Let's start this meeting. And well, I can already see that we're all here. Mike, Amy, and me. So, well,
present.
and we're calling this the roll call. Adoption of the agenda. Does anybody have any comments on the agenda?
Nope. I'll move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Okay, I can second that. So everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Amy? You mute. But I see you wave, so we're good.
Because I was on mute.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the land of the living. Approval of the minutes. It's been a while, so I had to reread them, but they still looked good to me.
Yep. Me too. I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from 4/10 of 24.
A second.
Everybody in favor, say aye or wave.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes approved unanimously. We're still doing this electronically because we still can. public comments. We like public comment, 15 minutes maximum, 3 minutes per person. No back and forth. If you want to have a discussion, the TUID staff is available and you can have discussions with individual board members outside the meeting. Is there anyone who wants to address the meeting at this point? Well, speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay. Update on the alternative energy grant. It's we have applied, TUID has applied for a grant that was called Seaside. Seaside stands for Community Sparking Electronic. I can look it up. It's very clever. But their main focus is a move to renewable energy and how cheaper energy, more reliable energy can spark investments. That's where the sparking comes in. I think we have a strong application. The summary that I wrote a while ago pretty much wrote itself after I highlighted all the goals of the grant, and we pretty much matched all of them. We have had good community support. We have had good leadership support on the federal, state, and local level. So if we don't get any money from them, it wasn't because we weren't trying or we didn't do it right. We were asking for 2.9 million. I can show a little slide. Oh, it's the summary slide. Maybe I should do that.
Yeah, that'd be great, Alexa. We got some community members on the meeting.
Are we seeing the slide?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is, I mean, the application was like 12 pages and another about 10 supplemental documents. But basically, the goal is to reduce power rate by getting somebody else to pay for the power generation. We're asking for $2.9 million, which sounds like a lot of money. We're supposed to come up with 155,000 of it. We can come up with the land. We can do a lot of in-kind stuff. So in the end, I think TUID needs to come up with about 50,000. The whole project costs $3.1 million, and those numbers come from the work that we did with the NREL people. I cannot share the final report because they need to go through some approval process, but I will be able to share in a couple of weeks. And at that point, we'll just upload it to the public notice site so that anybody who's interested can have a look. But they came up with the program and the price, and it was based on what's in Tickaboo right now and some natural growth. $4 a gallon diesel fuel. And they came out that with those parameters that the sweet spot was 85% renewable generation, and 15% would still depend on the battery. They did calculate an option where the very last percent of energy was going to be generated by renewables, and that made the price tag like more than double, because the last little bit is the most expensive. So they figured out based on some model that has stood the test of time that 85% for us was kind of the sweet spot. Let me see if I can. And here's the abstract. It is 438 kilowatt solar and 1,439 kilowatt hour of battery. Now, I have to admit that I don't even quite know what that means in terms of scale, but that is what the money is going to pay for. In addition to the solar component, I've asked for money to upgrade our distribution system to whatever level of interconnectivity and transformers and new lines is necessary to make the system work in an integrated way. The number I got from an old grant application that either was never submitted or not granted from CHIP in 2016, and I looked up some price index for electronic work, and that was like the prices had gone up by 50% since 2016. So I just multiplied that by 1.5. A very sophisticated budgeting technique. So we are going to either hear from them fairly soon. They have a question and answer period that's supposed to end somewhere by the end of July. Now, if we don't hear anything from them by then we know they chucked our application in the bin without further looking at it. So if we get a question, that's actually a good sign. That means that they're actually looking at it close enough to have a question. So I go back and forth between thinking like, yeah, this is a slam dunk. How can they say no? And they have only $18 million to give away. And then I think like, well, why would they give it to us? So we'll see. And if this doesn't work, there are other grants that we can apply for. And my intention is to just keep doing it until somebody says yes.
It's a good plan.
Well, that was my report. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Even members of the public? Any specific questions I would entertain? So I guess I was lying when I said, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Lex, I think that, the 438 kilowatts and then the 1439, I think that's about a little over 1.8 megawatts, if I'm thinking correctly. Which is about what most quotes we've had have quoted around 2 megawatts of solar and storage combined. So that'd be about that. So that, I don't know, it may take care of more than 85% if it were to ever happen. So we'll see.
Okay, well, but the numbers are kind of in the right range as far as you can tell.
Yeah, from what we've seen with other people other private, entities have bid on and come up with too.
Yeah, I think that 1439 kWh is consistent with getting through the nighttime period into the day without running the generator as much as possible, or overcast days when you don't have a lot of sun.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's right, man. That's KWH. I'm thinking KW. No, you're right. It is KWH on the batteries. Yeah, that's the capacity. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure. You think, what should we do? Should we publish the grant application? I think it's public information. There's nothing secret about it. I don't know if
Yeah, we could easily do that. If people want to
Yeah.
look at it, we could certainly add that.
Yeah.
Add that to the for the notice site for people to look at.
Yeah. Let's do that then. Management report. John, you go first, and thanks for making it here. Always
Okay.
happy to have you here.
Yeah, glad. No, I was telling Mike before you got on, the cat tech showed up today, and we spent about 2 hours up there doing some work. So we have to finish tomorrow and possibly part of the next day. We're gonna have to. We're gonna try to run the MQ in the morning because all the generators are tied together. So to do any breaker work, you have to turn the cats off. I think the MQ will handle that without having to interrupt power. The keyword is think, because the MQ, like I was telling Mike, it doesn't like to run at 100 kilowatts very long, but it should for a while. That's usually the morning demand, and tomorrow's going to be hotter than normal too. So I would expect demand to be higher. The worst case scenario tomorrow, that we may have a couple of 15-minute interruptions, which is, would be max, but I'll let everybody know that just in case. But as far as a report, you guys have been mailed that, and we can upload that to the public site too. But that's my focus, is these breakers on the C9 generators. They just get old from being used and probably sand mixed into, and they cease to be automatic. And that's crucial for the generators to all communicate and work together. When the breakers don't close, the generators won't run and take over power and back each other up. So right now we're working on that with CAT, and then some communications issues that we started on last year to finish that up. So hopefully the combination of those just up the reliability of the power plant. So fingers crossed, because you guys have heard me talk about it. We ordered new breakers last September, and then the dates that they were due in kept getting pushed back a week or two at a time, and it finally ended up in April of this year. There is no ETA for new ones anymore. So we had to go with the alternative of having some rebuilt, the ones we have in Idaho Falls. So hopefully they did their job, and the rebuilt ones will move us forward till maybe one day new ones are available again there. So that's a big one for us there. You guys saw that I mentioned that we continue to test engine number 2, the one we talked about rebuilding. So it still comes back to use caution. So we just test it, quite often. So right now, it still has to remain in rotation. And what I mentioned is, if and when we look at the RFPs and the bids for rebuild, that's really going to have to be a wintertime project. When the MQ is running outside, you can open the doors and have the access and the communications in there to deal with that. So that can be handled down the road.
How long project is that, John? Have they given you a time frame for that?
For the rebuild? Yeah, basically whenever I let them know, like if I give them like a 30-day notice, and that's they in this case is CAT, and then we have another bid or two, Performance Diesel, that I would, and again, Performance has done good work in other areas on other generators for me, so they've done a good job, but we would just have to make sure we're comparing apples to apples on the bids, because Performance Diesel was quite a bit cheaper. So we just have to see if cheaper means, the same value and the same services, for that. So, but yeah, with CAT, it's about a 30-day notice to let them, start getting things in motion with that.
Yeah, when the time comes, we'll be looking for a recommendation from you.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
if we'd like to hear what you think we should do. Just go with
Okay.
CAP because them and the kind of work they do, or if it's worth to
Well,
go in with the other guy.
yeah, and as I mentioned, some of the big bosses are here to visit me and Bullfrog together. So I'll bring that up in my meeting with him tomorrow morning too,
Yeah.
and talk about that. So it'll be good timing to see those guys face to face and talk about that too.
Yeah, so when the time comes, just write up a recommendation and then we can
Okay.
either discuss it on a scheduled board meeting or just jump on a quickie special meeting.
Certainly, certainly. Yeah, we had a power outage. The good news, it was the first long one that we've had in my tenure. The bad news, anytime you lose power, the power's out. But the breakers and the inability to have three machines to help each other out played a role in that too. That and just as we talk about the infrastructure, that probably played a role too, where we get capacitance in our system and generator goes over voltage and shuts down. So that probably played a role too. We're just checking out the machines as part of that too, to make sure they didn't play a role, but usually it's sometimes 50-50. With our infrastructure with that too. So we'll be prepared for that should it happen. You guys saw we got, one of the budgeted items that we had put in place this year was new oil. So that's in and in place. Makes me happy to see that, having to use it. So it's good to have. It's the lifeblood of them, of our machines for power too. So, and as you talk about a grant and, we're also cutting those costs too, hopefully if things were to happen, you cut fuel cost and oil filter costs, by that same 85% too. So it actually adds up to be a lot of money by the time you're done.
Yeah. I appreciate all the good work you do to
Yeah.
cut costs, but I think it may be worth it to say out loud that even though you worked really hard and really successfully at cutting costs, where TUID is not in a good place. We're not financially stable and we're not technologically stable. And those two are, of course, related. If you have lots of money, you can just buy whatever fix you need.
Yeah.
And if you have stuff that is brand new and just running like a train, then you don't have to worry about it that much. So
Yeah.
there is sometimes I get the impression that not everyone realizes that as long as things don't break down, you don't notice how vulnerable you are. I mean, if you don't fall off your motorcycle, you don't need your helmet.
Yeah.
And we do not have a helmet, and at some point, somebody's going to fall off their motorcycle.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
that kind of worries me.
Yep.
So
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, and as an example, I looked the other day and we had close to 100,000 in our main account and 77 some odd thousand in reserve. And Connie said less than that. And I said, well, no, it's that. She said, no, the $12,000 bond I just paid is going to come out of that. So yeah, you feel like you got a little bit of money at 100 some odd thousand, but 12,000's gone per bond. So we have money, but it's also, by the time you add in the bonds and the fuel we have to get, it's spent, it's there, but we kind of know where it's going in advance due to those commitments, for $54,000 a year in bonds and fuel too. So that is part of it. So speaking of fuel, part of my report, I think I mentioned this to you guys too. I've got it set up. We do bid on fuel, and I'd asked this from we usually out of 3 bids, we only get 2 that respond. And again, that's our location. But I'd asked both entities, which is Pierce and Often, to, set me up, help me by giving me price quotes. And Often actually did it. Pierce has not yet, but I get daily quotes from Often, which is really good. You see markets, Salt Lake City, Grand Junction, Denver, Bloomfield, which is I think part of Denver, and then Las Vegas too. So what we're looking at. But so for example, though, my goal is to not trigger the fuel surcharge, which is over $3 a gallon.
Yeah.
we're getting a little low, but what I can do, and I did this today, fuel's under $3, often has 2,000 extra gallons coming this way in a couple days, and they want to know if I could use it. And the answer is yeah, for that. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. And, typically you see price peaks around July the 4th, and then hopefully they slide the other way. So yeah, just kind of always keep that in mind. I don't want to see anybody pay even more for electricity, so yeah, just trying to be smart and nimble and adapt on the fuel and stay within that budget if we can. I mean, there's factors we don't control in that, obviously, but being in an election year and having those daily quotes and getting a few thousand gallons at a time is one answer to that too.
It's good.
That is it for my report, and I'll also upload that to the public website for anybody to read more in depth if they need to.
Okay, thank you, John. You're up, Ray. You're on mute.
I think that's the first time I did that.
It's
I don't
only
really-
been 4 years since 2020 and we're still doing it.
I don't really have anything on the management side other than just to report to you about the Wayne County Water Conservancy. I think we talked about it in April. We were originally scheduled on the agenda for June 17th, which is this Monday in Loa. And I'm looking at the public website now, and they haven't called us to tell us we're on the agenda, and also it's not posted as a meeting for next week. So I don't know if they do that just a 24-hour notice or whatever, but I felt like they would have let us know by now. But in the event that that they pop it up and we're going to go there, Amy and I aren't quite sure what our objective is. Are we trying to secure water rights, or are we just trying to find out if we're eligible or what the total cost
Well,
would be?
unfortunately, we still haven't heard from the state engineer about this, whether she approves or denies our application. All signs were, last time I talked to Nathan Moses, that the answer was going to be no. And I've asked him, if it's going to be no, I'd rather have it be no now than no in a few months. I mean, once you say no, then we can move forward. So we're not, I don't think that we have a fixed goal, because if the answer by some miracle is yes, then we don't need anything. But if it's no, which is the most likely, I think our question is water available? And if so, on what terms?
So I'm not sure that we have to actually go to that meeting then for that purpose, because they've kind of led us to believe that it is available and that we could work something out. And I think that, gosh, it's been so long, I forgot. Oh, Roger. I think what he indicated was that the step would be to come to the meeting and request the water rights. And then they would take those minutes to Cedar City to secure their approval. And so I think going to the meeting and being on the agenda is more of a step in that direction of securing it, and not so much just going there to find out if it's available and what it's going to cost us. I think we can just do that over the phone. Is that what you think, Amy? Or I mean, I'm just wondering, if they just give us a 24-hour
I
notice?
think so. I think we need to let this other thing play out.
Yeah.
Maybe we actually have lost the water rights, because, I mean, there's still a chance we haven't. And we have water rights until, what was it, 32?
Yeah.
32. So, I mean,
So-
this isn't an emergency, I don't think.
Yeah, I think if the next step is really, and I may have misunderstood, to officially request water rights, then we'll just have to wait until we get the final answer from the state engineer.
Okay, so I'll call that office tomorrow and let them know to not put us on the agenda until we reach back out.
Yeah, I think back when we last talked about it, we had assumed that by now we would have known.
Okay, that's the only thing I had.
Thank you, Ray. Mike, you asked to have adding board members to the board on the agenda. You want to tell us exactly what you have in mind and why?
Yeah, sure.
Start this off.
I think I think we've got enough willing participants to move to a 5-person board. I think in the past, TUID started with a 5-person board and moved to 3 due to lack of basically interest in being on the board. And they were forced to go that route. A 5-person board affords us a lot more convenience with the voting protocols. And it just adds more of a diverse demographic to our board. I think it's a smart move to make, and will make us stronger in the future.
So I heard, and I don't know what you know about that, or anybody else really, that if you have a 5-person board, you have to have 4 people to agree on something to make any decisions, which seems to put us in a little precarious position in terms of ever being able to decide on anything. So I
I
would,
think the way that works though is you still have a 3-person majority. And whether
No.
you operate with a,
That was in our open meetings class that we all had to take. You have to have 4 people agree.
67%.
Yeah, so it's not a 3-person majority. And that was in the open meetings class that we all had to take.
so I mean, I'm kind of waffly about this, so I'm not immediately opposed. Unless it's true that we need a 4-person majority for anything, because I think we'll be in we'll never get anything done ever. I don't have the bandwidth to rally 3 other people every time we need to decide something. So if that is the case, and I think we need to look into that, I'm not even thinking about it. If that's not the case, then I might want to think about it. So it's not, and I don't know. I'm a little worried about added complication, but sometimes complicated is not a bad thing.
understood.
But if we
Yeah,
need,
we definitely
if
need to
we
look
need,
at
yeah,
Utah codes or the county codes. But
Yeah.
I know where I come from, the other boards I've served on with 5-member boards, you either have a voting president or a tie-breaking president. And in the case of a tie-breaking president, you're correct, you would have 4 members vote. And if they all 4 vote, or if you get 2 and 2 against 2, then the president would vote for the tiebreaker. So it's
okay,
yeah, there's a lot of different ways.
Is that
Yeah.
Colorado law? Mike, is that Colorado law?
Yes.
yeah.
We're in Utah,
So,
so
yeah. Well, does anybody want to volunteer to look into that
Sure,
and to report back?
I will do that.
I will as well.
Okay, that sounds great. And then we'll just,
Going further, Ms. Golden, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't interrupt me when I'm speaking, please.
Oh, ditto.
I didn't.
oh yeah,
It's time.
Okay, let's not do this. Discussion on meeting frequency and return to quarterly. I can't remember who wanted to put that on the agenda.
That was
Hmm.
me.
Okay,
But however, I have heard that the thought is that we're gonna go to every other month for the rest of the year and then go to quarterly meetings. And I think that's a good plan.
okay. Yeah, I can absolutely agree with that. Just stick to the schedule that's discontinued every 2 months. And I don't
Mhm.
know what we need to do for that in terms of public notice. Mike, do you agree with that proposal?
I'm sure, I do. I think that's a good plan.
Okay,
I think, the original monthly meetings were when we
Yeah.
really needed to get everything going, when we started from ground zero and
Yeah.
we're building things back up. And I think now everything's under control, and I think it would be a little bit redundant to do it every month. Things
Yeah.
don't happen that fast.
yeah, and I think that was a good suggestion. Do we need to vote on that or anything, or can we just do it?
I think we should, when in doubt, we can vote. It's easy.
Okay, well, you want to make a motion, Mike?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we continue the every other month meeting schedule for now until the new year in 2025, and then we could start with a quarterly schedule at that point.
I'll second.
Okay, everybody in favor, say aye or wave. Aye. Okay.
Hey.
Can you do whatever you need to do on the public notice side to publish the amended schedule?
I can. The one thing we're gonna have to look at is when it comes time for budget. I think we're required to have another meeting for that. I have to jog my memory, but I'll make sure. I mean, we do have time to sort that out.
We do need to final December meeting to approve, but there
No,
has
we,
to be.
no, it's actually, we need one in November, I believe, is how we do it. So we may have to sneak one in there for the budget. We do two. We have to have one and then post it. We'll have to-
Yeah, could we do the October meeting?
Um,
Or is that
Depends,
too
yeah.
early to come up with a sensible budget for the next year?
yeah, I mean, depending on really the only thing that would impact the budget, it's bottom up, you look at your cost and analyze them. I mean, we would have enough information to see how much you change from there. The only thing that would make a difference would be if solar were being installed. That would change some of our costs, which would also be an experiment. But we can look at that. See, let me do some research and
Yeah.
I got generator breakers on the brain. Let me readjust in the next couple of days, and I can update you guys.
Yeah, or take your time. I mean, this doesn't have to be sorted out tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're talking
Okay.
about a meeting in November.
Okay.
So,
Certainly. No, I
don't want to add
just
to
hit
the
me.
stress.
Yeah. No, that just hit me. I'll get back up to speed on that and get you guys some updates so we can
Yeah.
collaborate and
Yeah,
make it.
but
But
in principle
um,
is that we're starting to move to, people do it with quarterly meetings, those budgets. I
Yeah.
mean, no, there has to be a trick to it.
maybe it could just be a special
Don't know
meeting,
what the
but
trick is yet. Okay.
okay. We can update the public notice site in the meantime too, and also do for any adjustments needed.
Okay. Next item is board reports. Do you have anything to report, Amy?
I'm sorry, Ray already talked that the only thing I've been working on is the water rights with Wayne
Okay.
County, and Ray already disclosed all that, so I'm sorry, I don't have anything.
Okay. How about you, Mike?
Nothing at this time, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay. Next point on the agenda is the closed meeting. We're having a closed meeting. Have we done that before? I think we've done that once before, way in the beginning. We can do that for strategy sessions to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, and to discuss transactions. Here, deliberation about procurement items, and we're going to do both of these things in a closed meeting. So how does that work? Do we need a motion for a closed meeting? I think we do, huh?
Alexa, you might want to get John to confirm that process, because I think we have to do something different, right,
We-
John?
We have to sign out of this meeting and then log into the other Zoom meeting. But we do have to go through the motions to enter into a closed meeting first.
Okay, let's do that first. Okay, I move that we're going to a closed meeting for the reasons I just stated.
I second.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, well, members of the public, I think you all have a different Zoom meeting for when we go back into public meeting, and I will see you at the other end.
Yeah, just so the public
Yeah.
knows, you guys should have the other meeting site. If you want to join early, you're welcome to. I don't know if we can really estimate the amount of time. Do you guys happen to have an estimate for the closed meeting?
I would think
It's probably a
15
tough one.
minutes.
Yeah, not that long, I don't think.
Okay, not that. Okay.
I know 15 minutes sounds good.
Okay. Yeah, and
I
we'll
know.
give everybody a
really
chance
don't
to
know.
rejoin, let us know if you don't have that link to that next meeting for the public, but you should have it. Hopefully, we tried to be precarious or obvious with it and repost it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see the board in this next meeting for the closed meeting here shortly.
Oh, somebody should respond to Chuck. I think.
Okay.
Maybe I can just say it out loud so that he
Okay.
can hear it, that we will not be announcing it in public meeting, but we will be in touch shortly thereafter.
Okay.
Is that reasonable, John?
Yeah, as long as you guys agree on that, however you guys want to do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't want to discuss that in public meeting, which is why
Okay.
we go to the.
Good.
Okay.
All right. See the board here in
See
a
you
minute.
at the other meeting.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.